trick or treat, motherfucker.
Probably the worst part in any movie ever made, ever. Anyways, hello everyone, we're back to continue our ranked and reviewed series of Halloween Ranked and Reviewed with our review of Halloween Resurrection. Hello everyone and welcome to Halloween Ranked and Reviewed. I am your host, TOMYE West, and joining me as always is my co-host, ALANNIS Maximus.
Salutations.
Before we get into it, make sure you leave a like because it helps us out a lot. Now, we're going to continue on with our Halloween Ranked and Reviewed series, as I said before with the movie Halloween Resurrection. And before we get on with our thoughts, let's get into a quick overview of this movie. This movie came out in 2002 with a rating of R. It goes for 1 hour and 29 minutes and an IMDb rating of 3.9 out of 10. Ooh, that's a stinger. Compared to every movie we've reviewed in the past, I think that may be the lowest IMDb rating. Am I right, ALANNIS?
I have a good feeling, and there's probably also a good reason for that.
Yeah, maybe. 3 years after he last terrorized his sister, Michael Myers confronts her again before traveling to Haddonfield to deal with the cast and crew of a reality TV show which is being broadcast from his older home. Not a TV show, just correcting myself. It is an internet web broadcast. Now, this movie also stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Busta Rhymes, Brad Loree, Thomas Ian Nichols, Bianca Kudlich, and a bunch more. And it had a budget of $13 million. And opening weekend in US and Canada, it made $12 million and grossed worldwide $37 million, which isn't very good, I don't think. Does that sound impressive to you, ALANNIS? Because to me, that sounds pretty like a pretty low return for a Halloween movie.
It does. It does not sound like a huge return.
No. So with that, I know ALANNIS is absolutely aching to get to his thoughts about this movie. So ALANNIS, you tell me, what did you think of Halloween Resurrection?
It was trash. It basically is the epitome of that crappy era of horror movies that are all the same. They're all shit. They occasionally have some good kills. Like, there are a couple of alright kills in this, but even the good kills felt recycled. You had your buzzy celebrities like Tyra Banks and stuff at the time who were big. Like, this wasn't good. And I don't know how... Actually, the one good thing, I didn't mind the mask in this. I think it's one of the better masks.
I have to agree with you there. I was actually going to bring that up and say, what did you think of the mask towards the end of the episode? And you kind of ruined it for me, you fuckwit, but that doesn't matter. I have to agree with you, man, that this mask tends to look pretty good majority of the time, unless it's on Busta Rhymes.
Yes.
For some reason, even though, like, I'm sure it was the same mask or similar and the same outfit and everything, you could tell it was not Michael Myers wearing that mask, it was Busta Rhymes, and it looked really silly. Like, I don't know why it does, and I don't know why that was the case. Maybe it was the shape of Busta Rhymes and the shape of his head and that sort of thing, but it just looked stupid. Maybe, you know what it was, actually? I think it was him talking in it. That's all it was. He looked fine in it until he started talking, and then the head moving around with the talking, you're like, get out of here, man! And it just looked so silly. Thank God they never made Michael Myers actually talk in these movies. You know what I mean? So yeah, continue with your thoughts.
And the entire opening sequence just seems unnecessary, especially knowing now that what I felt at the time that was pretty much Jamie Lee Curtis going, I'm done, I'm not coming back, this is my on-screen death. But now she's come back, so that makes even like that little bit of relevant movie irrelevant. I just didn't. Every one of the movies, except for obviously 3, because it's not Michael Myers, but everything, no matter if it's good or bad, kind of had a connection for Michael for doing what he's doing. Like, the only thing I could find in this movie is he can't control his impulses, so he's going around killing people. It's like, it's not why he was doing it. It's pretty well explained in the other movies a few times in a few different ways, and this was just a really shitty way to do it. It takes a lot of I think, the meaning out of Michael Myers out of it. Like, even if they said, "Oh, there's another family member," I still would have disliked it, but I would have hated it less. Like, it just didn't work. It felt like a movie that they put a Michael Myers sticker on to go, "Hey, it's Halloween," and it failed on it. And yeah,
But I don't think you're remembering, or maybe you didn't realize, or maybe you didn't put too much thought into it, just about how many things are wrong with the opening sequence. Like, why is Laurie Strode locked up in her fucking room when she's, like, catatonic, apparently? But there's other fucking mental patients walking around the halls that look way more crazy than she does. And then, like, the security guard goes outside and bumps into fucking Harold or whatever his name is and goes, "What are you doing out here? Like, that's your job, man." You know what I mean? Aren't you supposed to be making sure this doesn't happen? You know, like, and the other thing, like, as if that she would be allowed to hold that bear that she's holding in the mental institute like that and not have, like, people checking it and, like, they check every part of you when you're in a mental institute, like, as far as I'm aware, you know what I mean? It'd be pretty fucking irresponsible. They don't even let you have shoelaces, you know what I mean? So, and the other thing I found weird was, it's hilarious too, I'm not the only one that has noticed this, there's been on plenty of reviews before, but when Michael busts his head through that door, man, it's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. And yeah, I just find the death of Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, in this very cheap. I feel it was very. It didn't make much sense. I think that they kind of gave her an ungraceful. Even though me and ALANNIS have sat here before and said many times that we think she's a little overrated in this series, and the series can live on without her quite well if she's not in it. It's not. It doesn't hang all on her. It hangs on the story. It hangs on how good the movie is and Michael Myers. Like, we've proven that with, like, releases of this beforehand, whether it's been successful without Jamie Lee Curtis. So even though she's a little bit overrated in the series and not the tentpole thing that I think cements the series into, like, you know, being taken seriously or with so much love, is I still think they gave her a kind of shitty way of ending, you know. But then again, maybe they wanted to do more with it and they couldn't because she didn't want to. And that's fair enough. But I still think they could have tackled it a different way. What about you?
I definitely do. And
I kind of would have preferred they just left her out.
I like the one thing I like about it in the whole, like, how Michael Myers is still alive. It gives a bit more meaning and less shit to that scene we didn't like in the end when he's kind of like, and reaches out. Kind of makes that kind of like,
yes,
that's what the dude reaching out.
Kind of did take that away, but I was going to bring that up with you. What do you think of how they explained that away? Because for years, when Halloween H20 came out, like, dude, I was, like, reading up. This is when the internet was very, like new still kind of thing, and I was looking up old Halloween, like, forums and, like, fan pages and stuff where they were putting up, like, Halloween 8 coming and all this shit, you know. And yeah, I was like, how are they going to bring him back when they chopped his head off? I don't understand how they're going to fix this, you know. So what did you think about how they explained that away?
I feel it was a bit of a stretch, but without going into the supernatural side of things, it really had to be that way. Like, it couldn't have been him unless you go down the kind of Jason Voorhees kind of path, which they've gone on and off, and they couldn't really go back to it, I don't think.
Well, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but in our review for it, but in Halloween 5, in Halloween 4, when it ends with him falling into the grave and being shot by all the police with the shotguns, and then Halloween 5, it shows him, like, escaping out the bottom and falling down that creek and shit like that. That was supposed to be he was going to get brought back by getting electrocuted with a lightning strike, but it had been done on Friday the 13th with Jason Voorhees, so they felt like they weren't going to go down the same route with that, you know? The other interesting thing about this movie is, do you know who this was directed by?
I don't actually.
Rick Rosenthal, the guy who directed Halloween 2 and was a big part of Halloween 1 as well.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So he went senile in his old age?
Or I don't know, man. But, like, do you want to know something even worse? Do you know what this movie was originally going to be called?
What?
MichaelMyers.com.
Oh, really?
And the other one was Halloween H20. But the worst one was MichaelMyers.com.
Jesus Christ.
Look, say what you want about this movie and say what you want about Halloween Resurrection as a whole, but thank God we didn't get that title. You know what I mean?
I feel it would have fitted how bad this movie is, though.
Tell me what parts you really didn't like about this movie. What were some of the parts that made your eyes roll in the back of your head?
The entire cast and just the tacky tone of it. It's hard to pinpoint one thing. Just the Busta Rhymes making Asian kung fu noises as he fights Michael Myers, going "What the?" I'm like,
what a bitch, man! Like, what a bitch in this movie, huh? What a bitch! Michael Myers goes down like a little bitch in this movie, and like when you look at what he survived, like getting shot off a balcony, like getting like blown up in a hospital with the gas and everything, getting shot in the fucking eyeballs, and then Busta Rhymes kicks his ass, and that's the explanation for this dude getting beat. Like, it was such
as well.
It was such an unsatisfying ending, man. Like, when did you see this movie?
I think it would have when it came out on. I'm gonna say DVD because I don't.
Do you want to know my experience with this? This was the first Halloween movie I got to go to the cinemas to see, and my mum took me to go see it. And the entire time we were watching it, my mum was just like, "This is fucking so shit." Like, I feel sorry for dragging my mum along to go see this terrible movie. And had I been the age I am now and known about like it previously, and the internet was such a thing beforehand, and we could read what this movie actually was about and read reviews before it got released and things like that, I don't think I would have subjected my mum to such cruelty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So keep going. What else didn't you like about it?
What else didn't I?
I can tell you one thing that might help you.
Yeah.
The whole webcam on the top of the head thing. It fucking
that. Yeah, it's nothing about it really felt like a Halloween movie. Like, the only reason it felt like a Halloween movie is because Michael Myers was in it. And even with him in it, he had no motive. As I said, it was all just. It's like he was just put in there, and it just made no sense why he was doing what he's doing, despite their explanation. It just felt trendy and tacky and money grubby and beating a dead horse worse than it's been beaten.
I think you're correct in some sort of regard, but I also think that maybe it's because of the day and age we're in that you're thinking this is a money grab. You got to remember, when this came out in 2002, that's what people thought was the next thing, was like web broadcast. Like, the internet was just in its infancy. Like, we were just starting to get like videos and like reality TV shows like Big Brother and things like that. And I honestly think that they had every good intention with this movie, and wanted to make a good Halloween movie, but it was a product of its time. And I don't think back in the day I would have looked at this as a money grab. Now it's just hard to not look at this and be like, boy, is this outdated. And that's the problem I have with this movie, is that when you rely too heavily on technology, like current day technology, or something that's in its infancy for your movie, it's very easy to go out of date. And once it does go out of date, that movie kind of loses any watchability or anything, unless you just don't care about that sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing with now watching Back to the Future Part 2. Like, I feel like because we're past that date, it almost feels like that movie's a lot less fun to watch, because when you used to watch that movie, like back in the 90s and things, you were like, flying cars, fucking self-firing shooters,
Hoverboard.
self-sizing jackets and shit. And now you're like, well, this is a bit silly because we didn't get any of this. You know what I mean? And it's not saying that Back to the Future Part 2 is a bad movie. I fucking love the Back to the Future movies. I'm just saying, as an example, it's a big problem now that it doesn't fit with the timeline of our actual timeline, when it's kind of very heavily based on what was currently happening in that timeline or that space. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
That's an interesting point as well. When it gets to 2077, is it going to be anything like Cyberpunk?
I don't think so. I honestly think, like, people like, man, flying cars. Dude, Elon Musk has already said flying cars is not going to happen. Flying cars is, we've already got flying cars and they're called helicopters. Like, they're way too loud. You know what I mean? Like, he said it's all going to be tunnels, underground, bridges. You know, that's the future. That's not flying cars. Flying cars is so unrealistic, man, because you have to be able to fly this flying car. You have to be able to land it in your yard. Like, what about people in flats and shit? Like, there's just so much wrong with that prospect.
Driving would become so much more dangerous as well. Can you imagine just sitting in your lounge room and a car crashing into your house? Like,
dude, there's a lot wrong with that. You know, like, I just think that this will always be the way it is, and I don't think 2077, by the time we get there, we're going to advance as much as people would have thought. I mean, I asked my dad. I'm like, Dad, did you ever think you were going to see flying cars and stuff? He was like, I was sure of it when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, in the future, we're going to get flying cars and shit. Well, it's the future, and we're still waiting on our fucking flying cars. But anyways, back to Halloween. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was, what did you think about the amazing performance of the main lead female?
sad thing is, she was one of the least painful to watch.
She was, but she was also so boring, man. Like, at least the others were like they were annoying and shit, but they had something to them that made it personality-wise. She was just like a blank slate, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of surprised the redhead chick wasn't picked as the kind of sole survivor, because she had a lot more substance.
I hate the blonde. I hate the blonde in it. She drives me nuts. And you know who really drives me nuts, and the whole plot that drives me nuts? The Decker plot line.
Guys.
It's like, dude, come on, man. That just makes me, feel like I'm Michael Myers in this situation. You know what I mean? Like,
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
like, I'm just about to get my fucking ass kicked as Michael Myers when I watch this movie a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, listen, there's a reason that Busta Rhymes was given the chance to beat Michael Myers. There was a reason Busta Rhymes has so much screen time and a lot of lines that are specifically written by himself in this movie. You want to know what that reason is? For some reason, when they tested this movie before it came out, he tested off the charts high as like one of the best things about the movie. So they actually called reshoots and decided that Busta Rhymes was going to be the guy who beats Michael Myers, and gave him more lines and more parts in the movie and everything. Like, dude, how did Busta Rhymes test so high and they release him and like, dude, and then it flops so badly and everyone's like, fuck, Busta Rhymes is no way, that was a bad choice. Like, how does it flip like that? I don't get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they it would be interesting to see the original idea, and I imagine it would still be obnoxious, but I wonder how much less obnoxious he would have been.
They kill him by sticking a webcam down his fucking throat. And I really don't like the sort of, again, I don't get why in that day and age, so like we had American Pie, Road Trip, everything, where that whole sexual, not aggression, but sexual suggestiveness towards women is so overused in this sort of era of movies. Like, we got American Pie, Road Trip, we got all these comedy movies based on girls losing their virginity, guys losing their virginity, and it carried over into Halloween Resurrection, and all the dudes in it are just like, there's a part, I think, where one of them grabs the chick's tit or whatever, or nearly goes to do it without asking, and the chick's like, don't touch me kind of thing, and it's like, bro, like, this movie doesn't hold up in a lot of ways, you know what I mean?
No.
I don't know, I don't get it, man. I don't get the whole driven by sex thing in these movies, you know?
I feel like they were also trying to recall, because I mean, there was an element in the 70s, 80s, also 80s horror. Like you had the high school thing and the topless chick scene, but it was done worse and in a certain way that made it better than what they did in this. I think like it felt forced in this. Yeah.
Very, very weird. And I don't get that Michael Myers had been living in the sewers this entire time.
Yeah. I don't get how they could get anyone to give a fuck about any of the characters either. It's like, I did not care about them. I wanted them to die.
Man, I'm so happy that we're over this hurdle of Halloween Resurrection. I'm so happy we're over the Curse of Michael Myers. I'm so happy we're over all of those obstacles in our way, because I feel like the future's bright for our Halloween review series. Like, yeah, okay, there's going to be people like going right now, listening to what I'm saying, going, there's Halloween Rob Zombie and Rob Zombie Halloween 2, and then there's Halloween Kills, because they all hate these movies, you know what I mean? But I still feel like the future's much brighter now that we have gotten over these terrible entries in this franchise. How do you feel about that?
I think at this point, I'd be surprised if we'd hit a lower point, in my opinion. I don't think we will.
So as I was talking to you about it before, I was like, I pretty much know my ranking right now because I've seen them so many times, all these movies. I know them back to back. I'm going to give them all a watch again because right now I'm having a hard time with not the number one spot so far. I can tell you what's going to be number one, but I'm not going to. You can wait for that. But I can tell you right now that I'm having a hard time working at the number two spot, and even maybe further than that, because I've only ever seen Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie once. Every time I tried to watch it before that, I never gave it a fair shake because of the whole seeing horses and his mum and shit thing that happens, like White Horse and all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't know if this movie's going to be any good. So I just never gave it a go until last year when I was watching all the Halloween movies leading up to Halloween Kills. And I gave it a go, and I was like, when I came out of it, I was like, that wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm having a hard time as well thinking about what I'm going to do with that movie. So I need to rewatch all these movies again. But I can tell you for sure that none of the movies we're coming up to, I think, will be as low as this one and some of the previous entries in our ranking. So, is there anything else that stood out to you that you didn't like, you did like? Was there anything, because we heard a lot of what you didn't like, was there anything that you liked apart from the mask? Anything, just like a saving grace, you know?
I think some of the saving graces is some of the kills in it were nice. Some were lackluster, but some were very nice. Like the chick, the redhead chick that gets pushed into like the sticking bit of hole from the gate or whatever it is. I like that. I like the decapitation. I liked, but at the same time it was hilarious because it's like, in what world does a butcher's knife?
Man? Look, that just came up for no reason. Oh god! Now I hope if I click this, it's gone away. Okay?
It has.
Thank you, because I'm telling you, man. Just for everyone at home, if you saw that, sometimes when that happens and it comes up, we'll like keep going and record and be like I'll turn it off and keep recording, and then we'll check the episode. And it just never goes away. So we've had to like record whole episodes again because it's just fucking Batman's face looking like so dumb, you know. So yeah, what were you saying? Sorry, man. Keep going.
It was oddly well timed as well. I liked the beheading, but at the same time it was hilarious because it was like, in what world does it felt like a Jason Voorhees kill over a Michael Myers one because it had that complete ridiculous side to it.
What happened there? Is that my internet or yours? Oh, Alan dropped out.
A few minutes later.
Talk now.
Yeah.
There you go. Now we got you.
Yeah.
When you left, I was like this. It's gone away, hasn't it?
It has.
Good. So yeah.
Yeah, I kicked my cable and it came out.
Third time, you like the beheading, but what?
One day I'll get to finish this statement.
Halloween Resurrection just wants you to stay on it forever, man.
It also felt like more like a Jason Voorhees kind of a kill, because it was had that ridiculous element. And I don't know in what world a butcher's knife is going to go through someone's neck like that. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, there was a lot wrong with this movie, man, but I don't know. I can't wait till we show our rankings at the end because I think it's going to be a heated debate, man. So with that, we're going to get into our trivia of this movie. Unless there's anything else you need to say about this movie, man.
No, I think I've poo-pooed it enough.
Well, we're going to get into our trivia.
Look where I'm up to.
What? Huh? Oh, yeah. Trick or treat. Motherfucker. So, we've got a new segment to add in, man. I didn't know if you noticed.
Yes.
We're going to be doing trivia, and I've added in the Goofs segment, which means we're going to be reading up on some of the mistakes that you can see when you watch this movie. I thought we'd add it in and start trying that every week. What do you think?
I like this.
Cool. Good. Have a say. All right. So trivia for this movie. Okay. John Carpenter has stated that this movie made him cringe. Jamie Lee Curtis was quoted as saying he considered this film a joke.
Like there's not so much trivia. It's just the former directors and writers and stuff bagging the fuck out of it.
Several new endings were written during production, and the cast was never sure how the film was actually going to end. 4 different endings were filmed, and the director wanted the studio to ship a different ending to each theatre, a technique used before during the theatrical release of Clue from 1985. However, the studio disagreed, and the endings now appear on the DVD and Blu-ray. I'd really like to see these different endings, because anything would be better than Busta Rhymes beating up Michael Myers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is the second Halloween film to make any sort of reference as to what exactly Michael Myers eats. In the original Halloween from 1978, when Sheriff Brackett and Dr. Loomis enter the Myers house, they see something on the floor which turns out to be the corpse of a dog. Dr. Loomis just says he got hungry. Jamie Lee Curtis appears on the movie cover with short hair despite having long hair in the film. If looked at more closely, one can easily tell it's the same picture of her that was used for the poster of the previous film Halloween H20. She wouldn't even come back for fucking the posters, man. At around 2 minutes, a picture of Josh Hartnett, who played Laurie Strode's son, John, in Halloween H20, can be seen on the wall above Laurie's bed in the sanitarium. Bianca, the actress who played the female lead, cannot scream, and her screams had to be dubbed in post-production. You cannot scream? What do you mean? Didn't even know that people couldn't scream. The only Halloween movie that was released in July. The Halloween Resurrection trailer was first seen before Jason X from 2001, which was released in North America on the 26th of April 2002. We're going to have to eventually get to the Friday the 13th movies, ALANNIS, because
Jason X.
Because I do not have a big history with the Friday the 13th movies. To be honest, I've never seen part 1. I've never seen part 2. I've never seen any of them except for the remake from like 2000 and something, Jason X. And I think that might be it for me with my history of Friday the 13th. I was more of a Halloween guy. So I'm looking forward to doing those movies, but there's so many, and we've already got so many movies coming up, so I don't know when we'll get to it. And I think after this, it'll be good to give horror movies a bit of a break, because we've kind of been doing horror movies for a bit now. Oh, wait, we're going straight to Aliens. Fuck! That's right, people. Once Predator's done, we're going straight into Aliens, so that's going to be taking the place of Predator. I don't know how this show turned into us reviewing movies, let alone turning into it twice a week, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. So, Aliens will be coming up once Predator is finished. We have only got 2 more movies left in the the Predator series, with Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem. So we need to decide what we're going into after Halloween. I think it would be a good idea to go stay away from a little bit of the horror after a while. I think we should go into something a little bit more fun, maybe a little bit more lighthearted, and a little bit more shorter. Because this is a long fucking series we're doing. This film was originally set for a release date of September 21st, 2001, but the producers at Dimension Films wanted the film to be stronger, so reshoots took place from September to October 2001. That's right, the thing we were talking about before, the reshoots, they actually take away the fact that they wanted it to be stronger, put in the fact that they wanted more Busta Rhymes. The only movie to establish Michael Myers' birthday, October 19th, 1957. And we will go with one more. It's implied that Michael Myers stole the 1967 Pontiac Firebird earlier, although it's not shown. The main female lead stops to look at the tow truck with the Firebird as it drives down the street. With that, let's get into our new segment, Goose. All right. There better be some good ones. It'll make me kind of want to rewatch the movie just to see these goofs, I reckon. I mean, how more shit can the movie really be? When Freddy is watching Fist of Fury, he hears the doorbell and says something as he turns his head, but his mouth doesn't move. At around 42 minutes, when Miles is at the party in the office checking out the web broadcast, a guy and a girl bust in and intend to have sex in there. What we hear the guy say doesn't match up with his mouth movements. Enough of the mouth movements. Come on. Let's find one that's better. After Donna is killed, you can still hear her screaming. More mouth movements. Oh, for a new segment, man, this sucks. Hold on. Because of all the reshoots after principal photography had finished, hairstyles changed throughout the film. At the house party, the guest in the red coat is seen in the room when everyone hears the scream and they have to turn down the volume. The next scene at the party shows the guy in the red coat walking in asking what's going on. The man in the mental institution stated that Michael Myers had killed 4 teenagers in Halloween H20 when there were only 2 killed. Get it right, Harold. When Donna puts her shirt on after messing with Jim, she doesn't put her bra back on. But after Michael kills her, her bra is back on. When Michael gets his head cut off by Laurie, the eyes of the severed head are clearly wide open in H20 and in the flashback scene. Then they remove the mask from the head. Not only is the mask subtly and noticeably different, but the eyes are now closed. And we will read one more before we get into our ranking. Go for a short one. After Willie trips over his beheaded partner... wait. That doesn't make any sense, so we're skipping over that one. IMDb, get it right. When Michael is climbing the steps of the hospital at the beginning of the movie, his hair is up and puffy, and then when he reaches the roof, it's combed back. Can you imagine that? The red guy in the coat being like, "Whoa, whoa, turn it down!" And then like they're like, "Next scene, action!" And the red guy comes in. What's going on? I think that's going to be a good segment in the future, man. I think we'll find some funny goofs. But you know what I'm going to do from now on? I'm going to pre-prepare these goofs so we're not just reading mouth movement ones. You live and you learn, Alannis. You live and you learn. You live, you learn. Alannis. All right. With that, let's get into the ending of our show, where we're going to get into our ranking for the Halloween movies so far. So far, we have ranked all previous 7 movies leading up to this. And in the future, we have Halloween from Rob Zombie next week. Then we have Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie. Then we have Halloween 2018. Then we have Halloween Kills leading up to Halloween Ends, which I'm really excited for. I can't wait. Except I keep hearing all these leaks, and they all point to the same thing happening in Alannis. We reported on it recently about this guy named Corey and about Michael Myers not even being the killer in this movie and stuff. And I'm not trying to spoil it for anyone, and I hope that's not the case myself, because if that is the case, I'll probably come out and put this movie right at the bottom. But I'm hoping that this is just to throw us off or something. How are you feeling about that, by the way?
Nervous.
If you go in that cinema and that happens, I quit, man.
At what point do you learn not to do this shit throughout an entire franchise?
How is that picking up the story for Halloween Kills? Like, tell me you wouldn't make it like the ultimate battle between Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. Like, if it's not him or whatever, like, what the fuck? Like, I've heard rumors that, like, they find, like, his body's in, like, a car place or something, and they end up, like, squishing his body or something with a car, and, like, the whole town of Haddonfield goes down to join in and shit. I don't know, man. We'll wait and see. I don't know if this is true or not, but we'll wait and see. Let's get into our fucking ranking anyway. So, usually we bring up last week's ranking so you all can see where we're at, and then we continue on by bringing up the new ranking. Now, you might be wondering, why does the new ranking look so different to the old one? And that's because we're running out of room now, so we can't keep using the logos of these movies. We're just going to have a whole page of logos. So, this is last week's ranking. Number 1 for me. So what you're going to hear is me first, and then Alannis' ranking. So, number 1 for me, Halloween H20, which Alannis hates me. Number 2, Halloween 2. Number 3, Halloween 4. Number 4, Halloween. Number 5, Halloween 5. Number 6, Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers. And number 7, Halloween 3. And for Alannis, we have Halloween 4 at number 1, Halloween 2 at number 2, Halloween 5 at number 3, Halloween at 4, Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers at number 5, Halloween H20 at 6, and Halloween Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 at number 7. Now let's bring up the new ranking.
Did.
Beep! So, for everyone listening,
Whoa, above 6.
Yep. That's right, I went there. And I'll tell you in a minute what. So, for me, my ranking is currently looking like this. Number 1, Halloween H20. Number 2, Halloween 2. Number 3, Halloween 4. Number 4, Halloween. Number 5, Halloween 5. Number 6, Halloween Resurrection. Number 7, Halloween 6. Number 8, Halloween 3. And Alannis goes like this. Halloween 4 at number 1. Halloween 2 at number 2. Halloween 5 at number 3. Halloween 6 at number 4. Halloween H20 at number 5. Halloween 3 at number 7. And Halloween Resurrection right dead fucking last. Now, I think at the end of our rankings, we should always give an answer as to why we put it there, so that people understand our justification. Now, if you're wondering why I put this movie not even last, well, I didn't put it ahead of Halloween, under Halloween 3, because I still consider Halloween 3 the weakest Halloween movie because it's not a Halloween. That's my justification for always going to have Halloween 3 at the bottom. We're ranking Michael Myers Halloween movies here. We're not ranking sci-fi B-grade horror movies. That's my opinion. And then my reason for putting it above Halloween 6 and having Halloween 6 as the second last is because I don't like the cult stuff. I would rather they went in the direction that they did, making a product of its time that doesn't age well, that still has the whole, it's a slasher movie, he's stalking them, they're going to die. Rather than this whole cult thing and making it a supernatural aspect and the Cult of Thorn and the Man in Black, and like all the answers to that, and Paul Rudd and killing off Jamie Lee with and making it. There was just so many terrible decisions in Halloween 6. I feel like Halloween 6 was more of a direct-to-video sort of Halloween movie in its feel than even Halloween Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection at least still felt like a cinema movie. Like you could have easily sat at the movies and watched it, which I did. You know what I mean? I just don't like that supernatural Cult of Thorn aspect to the Halloween, and I'm just thankful that this movie stays away from the supernatural, because that's not what I like in my horror movies, especially slasher movies. That's the furthest thing I want is supernatural. I want realistic, some guy with a knife killing people. And as much as movie sucks and it's product of its time and it has a lot of problems and it's fucking shit, it's still, that's at its core what it is. You know what I mean? What do you think about my opinion on that, ALANNIS, and what do you have to say about where you're ranked?
I think that's fair. I think the reason I put this right at the bottom is pretty much everything I've covered. And another thing that I thought of when you mentioned in the trivia Josh Hartnett's character, that was a perfect place they could have taken this movie to have some kind of connection, and it was there. Even if they recast it, if Josh Hartnett couldn't be in it, it was just, it felt to me like it wasn't a Halloween movie, even though it had Michael Myers in it. There was none of that connection, even if it was a bad connection. At least Halloween 3, we knew wasn't going to be Michael Myers. This felt like it shouldn't have been Michael Myers, I think is why I've...
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. And you know what? Remember, everyone at home watching, the rankings are allowed to change up until the last episode of that series where we lock it in and that's it. It's locked in, it's done. You can't go back after that. So you never know, maybe this will change for me. But when I was ranking it, I was like, did I like this more? Could I sit through Halloween 3 again? Could I sit through Halloween 6 again? Could I sit through Halloween Resurrection again? And my answer to Halloween 3 and 6 was fuck no. And my answer to Resurrection was, at least it's kind of like stupid and silly with Busta Rhymes, you know. I mean, when you saw my ranking just then, were you like this?
Yes. I feel like you were kind of like Penguin.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I bet you, like, right now you're that mad at me that you wish you could come in and kick my daughter down and be like this, you know?
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Now that we've got that video in the streaming thing, I hope everyone at home's ready for that to be overused in every single episode from now on. Well, everyone, that is our official Ranked and Reviewed series episode for Halloween Resurrection. As I said, I'm so glad to be over this hurdle. Now we get to go on to at least some decent Halloween movies. I know there's going to be people at home going, what the fuck do you mean decent? This means the Rob Zombie movies suck and whatever. But yeah, whatever. We'll get to it later. And before we head off, there's something definitely we have to talk about. And that is the fact that our 50th episode, Tanked and Reviewed, will be out by the time this review hits.
Boy, was I tanked.
Fucking oath you were tanked, man. Fucking So, it's coming out on the 14th of September, which is obviously after the fact that this movie comes out, this review comes out. So, if you haven't gone and checked it out, please go check it out, because we're going to be reviewing Barbie in the Pink Shoes. We have already recorded this, as ALANNIS just said. He was very tanked. It was a great time. It was over 2 hours long. And while the episode is mainly meant to be a Barbie review, things didn't quite turn out that way. And while we still review Barbie in the Pink Shoes, a lot of it's just us talking about previous movies we reviewed, future movies we're going to review. Alan confessing to us how much he hates Nirvana and thinks Kurt Cobain's chauvinistic pig or whatever. I can't remember what you said. We also I also bag out Alan because I said, please don't tell me you play Warhammer, and he had to break the news that he did. I had broke the news and I broke the news that I think the nerdiest thing in the world's LARPing and role playing, and there's a lot of talk in it, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on it, because remember, anything we say in it, it's all in good fun. It's all a joke. If you like LARPing, go LARP. If you like role playing, go role play. If you like Warhammer, be like ALANNIS and play some fucking Warhammer. You know what? Whatever makes you guys happy, you know? Whatever makes you happy. I'm nerdy too. I play video games and I fucking collect Pokemon cards. People are like, going to go out and party? I'm like, nah, I'm busy. I'm watching a movie or something. You know, like, we all go. So, as I said, this Wednesday, even though it's going to be out already, so the Wednesday that's already just happened for you all, please check out our Tanked and Reviewed episode. It's really good. It took us a lot of time. It was a lot of work. It's not just a normal episode. It is produced completely differently. It has a montage of our best moments. It has title credits. It has a trailer of what's coming soon to Ranked and Reviewed. Not everything, but what's coming. And a conversation into our sort of life and some jokes. And we have a race when we both need to pee. See who's quicker at peeing. I won. Sneak peek if you haven't watched it yet. I'm still waiting on that trophy, Alana. Remember, I said I'll take it in platinum. And yeah, how are we feeling about the Halloween movies coming up? Are you excited for next week's? Because I'm really excited for next week.
I am. It's been a long time since I've seen the Rob Zombie Halloween, and to my recollection, I really like it. And I really like Malcolm McDowell, the guy who steps in the place of Loomis. And now I know Loomis a little bit better and have grown that soft spot. I think it's a really good casting for that, because Michael, what's his name? I just said it. Fuck it.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
Ronald
Malcolm McDowell he's good. I like it.
Nick Giannopoulos is from the Necropolis. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our Ranked and Reviewed episode of Halloween Resurrection. We're going to leave you on one simple little thing.
Trick or treat.
Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next review.